Question from Gabwin. As an author, editor and publisher, what's my opinion on and what impact on the genre do I think will arise from the whole rise in the popularity of e-books and self-publishing? I've touched on that a little bit already. There's lots of opportunities out there. As I say, at Infinity Plus, we've after 10 years as a website, we've relaunched as an ebook publisher. Published some fantastic books by people like Eric Brown, Hugo and World Fantasy Award winner John Grant. We've just got a new collection of stories by Gary Kilworth coming out. We're going to do a new edition of Molly Brown's crime novel, Invitation to a Funeral. Lots of interesting things we can do. There are niches out there in the mid-list that the big commercial publishers just aren't making the most of. Commercial publishers need to sell large quantities of books. Smaller publishers, they need to sell a few thousand or even a few hundred to make a venture worthwhile. As long as there's a decent audience out there that wants to see what we're doing. And so, we're doing interesting stuff. Conventionally, short story collections haven't been commercially viable. But at Infinity Plus, we're finding that short story collections are our best-selling kinds of books. Authors, lots of authors have reclaimed their backlist. They've got the rights back to them so that they can put them out as ebooks and have that kind of control over things. It's nice for readers. Readers can try authors. You can get a free sample from Amazon for any of the ebooks that are up there. You can pay maybe $1 or $2 for a book rather than 10. So I think readers are far more inclined to try authors that they might not otherwise try. It would be interesting to see the impact of this on publishers and booksellers. I hate to think that one impact might be that we lose the bricks and mortars bookshops, the local independent bookseller. I hate to see them struggling. I hate to see them go. But that might be one of the consequences of the way things are going. So everything moves online, everything becomes digital, and we need to move with the times. If that's how people like to read their books, then there are opportunities for us as writers to get our books to that audience. I think what we are seeing is that the smart publishers are adapting very, very quickly, and they're adapting with their authors rather than despite their authors. They're not desperately clinging on to the rights and exploiting them and giving the authors a very small cut. They're recognising that it's a different market. The authors should have more say in it. The authors should get a bigger percentage of the income from ebooks because the costs of producing them are so much lower. And if the authors benefit from these, then the readers do and the publishers do. Self-publishing, as I said, there's an awful lot of noise out there. There's an awful lot of books out there that I don't think should be published. But what's interesting is that mechanisms are emerging that allow us to filter that out. And we're seeing authors who have been very successful self-publishing. They're doing a good job. They're hiring professional editors to work with them. They're recognising that the kind of help that you need from a commercial publisher you still need as a self-publisher. And at the end of the day, talent wins out. Talented writers are finding ways to find their audiences. And it's a really interesting time. I'm really intrigued to see how things go over the next couple of years. Final question here is from Fingers, saying, what's one little known fact about myself that I wish more people would know about? Difficult to say really, because I think I'm fairly open. I'm fairly widely available on the web. Fairly accessible kind of person. I think most things are known. If you want to know something about me, it's out there. And I guess if there's anything that I don't want you to know, then it's probably not out there for good reason. It does kind of touch on what I was talking about the noise that's out there in the publishing market at the moment. One of the really difficult challenges for me at Infinity Plus has been, how do we emerge from that noise? How do we help readers find us amongst the thousands and millions of books that are out there? And it's probably been the toughest thing that I've had to do. It's easy for me to do a good job of producing good quality books, I work with some fantastic authors who write brilliant books, um, but trying to find the audiences, trying to pick our books out from amongst the mass, trying to make a case for why readers should bother with us and with what we're doing. It's a constantly evolving challenge, and it's one of my responsibilities as the publisher for the imprint to do that. Increasingly, it's a responsibility for the author to find ways to do that. And we've been lucky enough to have 5 of our titles hitting bestseller charts at Amazon and hitting top 10s in various categories. So we clearly are getting through to the audiences that we want to get through, but it is an ongoing challenge. And as I say, it's one of the aspects of this whole electronic publishing revolution that's intriguing, and it's one of the reasons that I'm so actively involved with it. That was the last of the questions that I've received for this interview. Hopefully I've answered them all reasonably well and comprehensively. But as I say, I'm a fairly accessible kind of person. I'm out there on the web, I'm out there in social media, fairly easy to find on through my blog, through Twitter, through Facebook. So do feel free to get in touch, follow this up, ask me any questions, and thanks for your time.